Okay guys, sorry. So, just done this corner, so what I did was, rather than try and make one piece, I did it in two, so I just made a piece that I welded in here, and then another piece that welded along here, along the bottom there, and up here. I have given that a grinding, and a small bit of filler will smooth that out, not that you see it, but that will be fine. And then now I've got a nice solid repair to that frame. So basically I've now got to do slightly less but similar idea on this side. I haven't got as much problems up here, so purely just going to cut across, probably cut around here to about there, and then just cut this piece out here and replace that and weld that in. And then effectively, apart from a couple of small holes here which I might just chase with a welder, it's all been sandblasted, so I've got the rust out of it, and then give it a bit of treatment. I've already given it some rust converter here, and I pulled the skin apart at the bottom here, got in there with the rust converter as well, and then using primer, weld through primer underneath, in between these bits here, so give it the best chance I can of not bursting out in any, very quickly at least. It will eventually rust, I'm sure it always does, but there you go. Okay, so I'll film this corner just to show you how I did this. I do find when you're working in sort of smaller, tighter fitting areas like this, the Dremel with a cut-off wheel is quite helpful for getting into the sort of smaller, harder to reach places. But even that can be a bit fiddly when you've got like I just want to cut a straight cut there to cut this corner piece out. So this is where the old multi-tool comes in handy. Flange out the way a bit more. So this is obviously all just peeling that back a bit. I can manipulate that out. I want to try and keep this piece together so I can just use it to guide to what I need to cut out, but it's really not that much problem to cut out. So that's the piece of I need to replace. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to get in there. Okay, let's give that a little coat of the rust converter. pull that apart, just really get that into there. So this is the stuff from rust.co.uk. It's called FE123. I mean, you know, I know there's loads of them out there and they all work roughly the same way, but I've just found this stuff to be pretty easy to use, and just sort of so that'll dry out. I'll probably leave that now for a bit, and then just go and cut my piece of, I'm going to use 0.9mm, so whatever that is, 20 gauge I think, or 18 gauge or 16 gauge, whichever one it is, steel. Then it's just got to have a slight curve on it to follow the curve of the door, but that's a nice even curve, so it's literally just a case of cutting it there and there, holding it in the vise and just gently kind of moving up and down and bending it in a bit, get that to fit, and then I'm just going to weld it along here, along here, along here. Probably that. I might actually get the old grinder on that and grind that back a bit. It looks like there's some old crap there, so I'll give that a quick go now. I can always give it another coat of So this corner's been patched. I can see from the other side because it's basically very badly done. I will show you. And you can see what I mean. Yeah, so that's the patch that was put on that I've obviously exposed. I don't think they even attempted to make it slightly curved. It's just like a flat piece of metal. So that's going to have to come out, and I think I might have to do that before I put in this other piece, but I'm going to let the rust converter do its thing for a bit, and just give it a bit more there around it. I think there's kind of bits of the old skin still there. I think they literally just patched over the top of it. So I'm going to clean that out. I might end up actually having to cut all of this out. But, I wouldn't mind getting this piece fitted first and then come in from the other side, just cut the whole patch out and redo that whole patch. And that's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, it's pretty shabby piece of patchwork there. Right, okay, so I've cut the patch to fit in here, so giving that a coat of weld through primer just to give it as much, and likewise there as well, so that'll just fit in there, and I'm just going to weld that in place. So before I do that, I just need to give it a little grinding to get some clean metal. Okay. Okay. Ground connected. So I'm running a bit of tack on it. Good start. Here. Here. Okay. Having to wear glasses. Real pain. Okay. Now, that is okay. So I have the welder set to a fairly high setting and just short so I can get some penetration without going in there for too long. And that works better than sort of, you know, a lower setting, and then you're trying to sort of, I actually find you actually end up putting more heat into the panel sometimes if you do it that way. I'm just having a look there. I think I might have missed a bit. I need to run some more just alongside of that one. Okay. So what I found now to clean up these welds, obviously, you know, normally you get the old grinder in there, but it's a pretty tight area. I have got smaller stuff, but I found on the other side is a larger grinding wheel, actually a hard one, not a slitting disc like this, but there's my doofer. So a larger sort of 2.5, 3 mil thick wheel enables you to get into the closer into the weld. Okay, and then so then a bit of the old finger sander. Okay, not looking too bad there. Probably a bit of smaller wheel would help. The problem is getting in there isn't easy. Good enough, I think. Just need to get that little bit in there. What am I going to use for that? Might actually need to be a bit more of a... I don't really like using this because it's just terrifying. There you go. Okay, there you go. So that's back. That's all welded in now. I think I'm going to flip the door over, and then look at the patch on the other side and see what I'm going to do about that. But effectively now that's done, I think I can actually fold this back over now, and the other side, and then sort of treat the patch from the other side. So let's have a look at that. Right, so I've just started and I forgot to press record, so I've just folded this over. Now I'm just going to tap it back down. Okay, same on the other side. I won't bother moving you, it's not that interesting. Okay, so it's all folded over, and now I can flip the door over. So I'll just move you out of the way while I do that. Hang on. Okay, so this is the other side of the door. Obviously, this is the patch that my media blasting revealed. I mean, it's actually almost bent in like that rather than following the curve of the door. And look, I'm not a professional body panel beater or anything, but I reckon I can do a better job than that. Just by cutting that back out, shaping, cutting out a triangle that will then fit back in there, but actually putting a bit of a curve into it first, and so I can try and follow the line of the door, at least enough that I won't need 1/4 inch of filler to try and patch over it. So I'm actually going to use the Dremel again, because I do like using the Dremel for smaller jobs like this. It's easier to get at stuff. trying not to go through the inner skin that I've just replaced. So if you remember, obviously I flipped the door over, we were working on that side. I don't really want to start cutting through something I've just fitted. And there you can see the back of what I just did there. So it's now a case of cleaning up the area and then effectively welding back in a patch to fit over that area. So I'm just going to get the most of this out. Clean up. All getting quite thin down here, just where towards the edge, where obviously I had to cut quite close to the edge of the skin. So right, there you go. So it's okay. So let me just go and cut that patch. I can obviously use that as a sort of a template and just cut out a new patch, and then I'll be back. Right, so I've made this patch, just, it's quite a tight fit, and then literally just put it in the vise and just gently kind of in stages put the curve on it of the door skin. That then is nice and fits in there, so I can now look at getting that in place and then butt welding that, butt welding that into the door there. Yeah, not a bad fit. So I think once that's welded and grounded back, it won't be perfect, but it'll certainly be a hell of a lot better than what was there before. And with a thin skim of filler, it can be made to look nice. They've got a couple of little holes here, which I'm going to probably just end up drilling out a bit and then putting little patches in there. The smaller ones I could probably just weld up. So that's next. So let me get the welder fired back up again and we can just get this tacked in. Actually, I think before I do that, I just need to give it a coat of weld-proof zinc primer and the back of my previous patch, of course, which is behind here. It just needs a bit of a grinding and a bit of primer on it as well. Right. Let's just get that there. What am I doing? On the freaking side. It would help if I did the correct side. Right, let's try that again. Bits of prime. Bits on the sides. Okay. A bit of little thing here. I'm going to have to probably just try and fix that up as I go with the welder because it's come away a bit. It's very thin. Where we've cut away there's only about 3 or 4 mil left of door skin below that. So it might be quite interesting from a welding perspective. I might end up blowing some holes, but I'm sure we can recover from that. So I'll just let that dry out and then I'll just get the welder set up. Right, so I've got this lined up. I'm just using a magnet there to hold it in place. I just want to find a place where it's nice and level. At the moment it's quite sort of loose, it'll wobble around, so I just want to try and get one spot weld in there. Cut down my line over there. Try and tap that down a bit. That's good. It's good there. So it's obviously a bit low there. I can use a magnet to pull that back out, but I just want to get some fixings up in here. Give that a bit of a what's going on there? Okay, it's now fixed there. Just try and get this up in here. Okay, so that's not bad so far. You can use the magnet here, will then pull it back to flush. Okay, lovely. Okay, so that's in there now. Because this is obviously quite a localized area that I'm working on as well. If I put too much heat into this, it's going to potentially cause problems here, so I'm just going to take it really slowly, using my hand to feel there's not too much heat, combined with some air. So I can try and keep on top of the heat a bit, and then just work on it slowly. So that's all cold. So I'm going to pick a weld and then keep going on from there. Do maybe 1 or 2 more tacks, then move on to another part, and then basically try and sort of build it up without putting too much heat into things. Having to be really careful along the bottom, it just blows holes in it because it's not particularly it is a bit of a mess down there, to be honest, so just going to keep going. Okay. Looks pretty rough at the moment, as you'd expect, really, but so just sort of start cleaning it up a bit and see how we look underneath all that. Right, probably just needs a few little holes touching up there and there, but it's a hell of a lot better. Next thing to do before I do that, I think I'm going to fit the door up to the car. I'll get you close up so you can see. It wasn't particularly easy, and you know, halfway through I just thought, why didn't I just cut it all the way off and put in a whole piece there? But hey, I was already committed. But that is now sort of more in line with the shape of the door, and won't need a huge amount of filler to fix any little imperfections there. But anyway, there you go.